Basketball is my life. I have nothing else.
This is incredible. This is the best grateful for I've ever heard.
Shooters. That's what we do.
Shooters, a basketball podcast. Let's go.
Anyway, that's enough of that. Episode 13, I think we are. It's a big one. I don't want to talk about anything else but your game winner. I'm going to jump right into it. I don't even care about anything else. So the man that won the game on the buzzer, it had to be a great feeling. I enjoyed your little insight about it as well. But Jack, how are you feeling after that big week?
Definitely a crazy moment in my career, that's for sure. I mean, that's the stuff you dream of. It doesn't happen very often, very, very rare, for one, that a game's in that situation, and two, that you get to even take the shot. So I've missed one before last season against Brisbane, and this was my second go at it, and I'm still kind of on the come down a little bit, like the adrenaline, the messages, kind of everything was crazy, but we're feeling good. We got a win, and the nice part about it is because we're heading to the FIBA break, which means no games this weekend, I actually get to enjoy it for a little while.
That was going to be my next point up. My next follow-up was almost going to be like, do you kind of get sick of people asking about it because you kind of just want to move on to the next game, but you're like, well, the next game's not for a while, so I might as well bathe in this game-winning feeling.
No, definitely. I'm not sick of people asking about it. I'll be honest. Okay. It's pretty like a special moment for me, and making that shot and celebrating with the team. And then it was an early game, so the team actually got to hang out afterwards, eat dinner together, have a couple drinks, just something relaxed in the hotel. But we got to enjoy that moment, enjoy the win, knowing we got a little bit of downtime. We had Sunday travel day back, and then Monday, Tuesday off. So we're kind of just enjoying it and making the most of it.
Love it. I just wanted to quickly jump right into it because I knew that that's what I wanted to talk about, and I'm sure that's what people wanted to hear about. But anything else you'd like to cover on, or anything else that happened over the week that you'd like to touch on? I got nothing really, to be honest with you.
Oh, about the game winner, a question that interests me, because I was in the post-game press conference afterwards, and they asked me, like, it's a stressful situation where you're nervous out there. And for me, it was like a funny question because one, you don't really get nervous when the game is going. Your body's kind of in flight mode, takeover mode. Like, you get more nervous when you're on the bench, when you're sitting on the bench, or when you're about to sub in, or at timeouts, or maybe at free throws. But when that ball, so we were coming out, we had to play defense. There was 19 seconds, I think, on the shot clock. We're up by 2, and I walk out and I pull Shawnee and Dream in and the guys, and I say, listen, if they tie it up and there's 2-3 seconds left, I'm going to run across the free throw line, pass it to me. I promise I'll make the half court shot. Because we didn't have any timeouts left. So I did kind of speak it into existence. I knew I wanted that shot. So when they asked me, am I nervous out there? I don't think that's the right question. For me, what's going on in my head is all I was trying to do is shoot the ball. Like, I want to try and have a chance to make that play. I am hunting to get into a position. I want the ball. So I catch it. Magne passes it to me. I turn around. I see there's Wardenberg. I'm like, one-on-one. Let's go. I'm shooting this ball. Shawnee starts to scream behind. So that scares me a little bit because Patrick Miller was flying down. He's quicker than me. I know these dudes are going to catch up. So I pick up the ball in a little bit of a panic because at the end of the day, I knew we were tied up. So I just didn't want to turn the ball over. I pass it to Magne, start screaming for it again. He did a great job because he stepped into it like he was going to shoot it from deep, which made Wardenberg kind of like go to him. He passed it back, and then I can't really remember much after that.
I was going to say, I've often thought to myself, if I was ever like good at basketball, full stop, just like in the elite level, I'm all right. I can play. I used to be able to play. I'm just so old now. I retired. But anyway, I've always thought to myself, if I was in that situation where I made a big play, or I was pretty much just in a moment where I should celebrate, I reckon I'd be the most awkward celebrator, just because I don't know what I'd do. I was having this discussion the other day. I really don't know what I'd do. I don't know what my go-to move would be, but is there a moment there where you kind of think to yourself, how am I going to celebrate, or you just let your body take over, or you just do whatever, you just black out?
No, first off, you definitely have absolutely no control over what you do.
Okay.
None, zero. I have always told myself, though, like the inspiration was Damian Lillard like not celebrating when he hit that three. So like that's always been the celebration. And then it's funny because I didn't even realize it because a couple of guys were saying like, oh, it was a little Conor McGregor walk a little bit.
Oh, true.
Which is funny because he is one of my all-time favorite athletes, especially when he was in his prime and like studying his mental and all that stuff. But the only thing I knew kind of is I didn't want to go too crazy. So like that's how I always wanted to handle it. I didn't want to do like the run or like the scream and stuff. So I'm happy with how I handled it. I think that the one video angle of me kind of walking is pretty epic. So I'm happy with how I handle it, but you definitely have no control over what you're going to do. You're not thinking. And then you can actually see in the video, like I'm still hype. I'm hyped. The guys are grabbing me. I'm blacked out. And then you see me almost come to and I start to laugh. Like I start to smile, laugh. And that's me like almost being conscious again. Like I can't really remember much from making it until me laughing, me looking around, all the boys are jumping around me. I'm like, what's going on? This is crazy.
That is funny, actually. I actually missed the game. So I was out just at a Christmas party early work event, and I was out, and then I just got messages. I watched the first like quarter or a half or something, and then I just got messages like our work chat. I just like, Daz, can I get Jack McVeigh's autograph? And I'm like, what's going on here? And someone else was just like, your boy or something, and I'm like, don't tell me I just missed Jack do something special. So I had to straight away log on and see what I missed. But it's one of those moments I'm like, damn it. But I just rewatched it a few times, so it's all right.
That's all right. Yeah, exactly. You had the same experience of getting to watch it. And I've definitely watched it probably 100 times.
You just got it on repeat. There's nothing wrong with that. You have to. We're so harsh on ourselves as athletes and as people anyway. So you gotta soak up the positive moments as well.
Definitely. I've loved it for like watching it for multiple reasons. Like Will Magnay and Anthony Drimick's like exact same synchronicity time, like fist bump, and just watching each guy's like the way they celebrated and you know like how Cairns reacted and all those little things. So I've watched it a couple times, but definitely a moment in my career that I'll remember forever. That's 100% for sure.
Yeah, I love it. I love it all. Did you last one? We'll touch on. We can just basically skip over this game when we go to it. But what did you think about Cairns jerseys? I always think about. Well, we always talk about uniforms on here, but the two uniform colors that I think basically don't work would be grey. I've never seen a grey good uniform, I don't think, but theirs were kind of like brown. I don't know how I felt about it, but they normally do a pretty good job of it, and I actually quite like those, even though they were brown. What do you think of them?
That's funny because I'd be watching uniforms. When I play them, I have no idea.
Oh, true.
So I couldn't even tell you what their uniform looked like, but all the other teams I could. So I've got no real comment on that one. But you enjoyed them. You enjoyed the kind of brown, kind of grey uniform.
I was half, but I think they're pretty good. Solid, I'd say.
I like it. I tell you what, it's still a heated debate in the Jack Jumpers community about our yellow ones, but I'm on the side of really enjoying them. I like the yellow. Yeah. I like something bold, but we're a couple games in. Where are you sitting on those?
Well, I think I'm still 50-50, to be honest. I think there's moments I'm like, these are great. Then there's moments I'm like, that half. Well, funny I say half because that's the reason I don't really like them sometimes. Like just the half green, half yellow. Just go all yellow, but that's okay. I still like the boldness, like you said.
Yeah, I respect it. Well, is there anything outside of basketball this week that we should catch up on, or anything exciting that happened in your life?
I don't think so, to be honest. Just basketball. That is my life these days, but that's a good thing, as well as my family and all that, of course. But no, nothing else too substantial.
I feel you. I'm the exact same. Whenever we have those doubleheader games, basketball is definitely all-consuming, and it's the only thing we really have time to focus in on and do anything for.
What did the team eat afterwards, by the way? What was on the menu?
Ooh, we got a little a schnitz. So
I love schnitz.
I love schnitz too. So we were all in an extra good mood. Before the game, I said to someone, I said, listen, win or lose, we're all winners tonight because we get schnitz afterwards. So I don't know if anyone listening, this is a little random sidetrack. Anyone listening is into like numbers or like spirituality or whatever. So whatever, but that's a side point. But kind of, So I always in a game find ways to relax guys. Like I'm big on like trying to. It's high pressure. I'm always focusing on hyping dudes up, relaxing guys, and so the Cairns goes on a little streak in the fourth quarter, and we call a timeout. And as I go to the bench, I look up, and the exact time on the clock is 4:44. So we're in this super serious timeout, and I just come down. I sit down. I say, "Boys, this is a sign we're going to win. Look, 4:44 when we called the timeout. We're going to win this game." So and everyone had this little like, what the hell is wrong with this dude? But also,
read the room.
Maybe it worked, maybe not. Depends how you look at it. But that's a little sidetrack of me just trying to keep the energy high when we're in game.
No, you got it. It's a highly stressful situation. You might as well distract them or just, I don't know, make it light or make them think you're a weirdo at the time. I think it would work. It would work quite well. I've got this weird habit of I always look at the clock at 11:11, which freaks me out. I don't know. It's happened for a while, but anyway.
Do you be making a wish every time you do?
Well, that's what someone said, but then it happened way too frequently. So I was kind of just like, I've got limited things to wish about. So it's just one of those weird things. But anyway.
Nice. Well, this episode has started off going everywhere from game winners to to numbers to. Well, should we get into it?
Let's do it. Yeah, it's been a very weird episode. We apologize, but I actually enjoyed that bit. But we'll just quickly run through the games. From Tassie win we'll jump back to a Tassie loss because New Zealand got the better of you at the very. Sorry, let's lower the mood. We got a reality check here. But no, Anthony Lamb was dominant in that first half. But instead of just hyping him up, you guys pretty much did shut him down in the second half, which was nice. But and then the other one was obviously Will Magnan. He just killed it. That was a hell of a stat line. He had like 20 points, 14 rebounds, 4 blocks in like 16 minutes or something. Pretty crazy.
100%. I mean, New Zealand played a great game of basketball. Anthony Lamb put him in that position heading into the second half where they're up, they're feeling good. And then Magnan was an absolute beast doing Magnan things. And then tough weekend for Milt. I mean, he started out 13 points in the first quarter against New Zealand and then rolls his ankle and kind of was playing on a sprained ankle for most of the weekend. And you could see it affected his game a little bit. And when you start a game with 13 points in the first quarter, that's not how you expect the game to end. But New Zealand played well. Our defense is something we're continuing to work on. We need to get better at quickly if we want to be the team that we know we can be, which is the best team in the league, right? Winning the whole thing. Like that's our goal. But when a guy like Anthony Lamb gets hot, tough to guard.
Oh yeah, for sure. Last one, the last steal and score by Leaf. I had to kill Jordan Crawford for that. Like that would have been hard to handle. But oh well, it's all right. These things happen. Perth Cairns. Perth got the points. I was just gonna quickly shout out Ty Webster. We're trying to get him on the pod in all secrets. No, that should be good. So hopefully we have a little interview for you lined up next week. But I just wanted to shout him up. He kind of. When he came into the league, I feel like he was more of like the scoring punch, the people expect big numbers, that type of thing. But he just plays his role really well now. And I noticed in this game especially, like he just does his job, swings the ball, scores when he needs to. I just wanted to give him some praise, really, before he comes on the pod, that is.
Nah, I like it. I think you're on the money. I mean, bottom line is stats are irrelevant when your team's winning games. Because everyone is performing their job perfectly. So if Ty Webster's out there scoring 0 points, 0 rebounds, 0 assists in 30 minutes, but they're winning every game, then he's kind of doing his role perfectly, right? You don't need to change anything. Now, you can talk stats and numbers when teams are losing, but with them being on a 5-game winning streak right now, they're finding their rhythm. Ty's defending guys. They're getting Bryce the ball, and Bryce is doing Bryce things. And then, their other import, Doolittle, has filled a role that, is slow to start because you're finding a new league, you're doing your thing, but he's going out there, he's rebounding, defending, making open shots, making the right decision. Hiram Harris has slipped into that, into that 4 spot, and he's doing the same. And it's amazing how sometimes it takes a little time for a team to do their thing, to find their positions, to find ways to win. And for all the hate Perth gets, they're sitting at 7-5 going into the break, tied 3rd place with the Jack Jumpers. And so it goes to show you, like, all that hype and all that talk is irrelevant. When you get on a roll, when you find your thing, and when you win games, this league can change overnight.
It is very funny how quickly storylines can change. Like I swear it was like yesterday, like a week ago maybe. It was just like, damn, Perth are screwed. Like they're heading for the worst. They're going to be one of the worst teams in the league. Fire this, fire that, and now it's just like, wait a second, they're like, I don't know. Derek Rucker actually said on one of our NBL Now podcast, he was like, they're actually in a better spot than Melbourne. I don't know how he validates that, but that's what he thought. He's like, they're in better form than Melbourne are right now. So it's just very amusing how quickly storylines change. But that's the beauty of it, I guess.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that's what makes this league fun. And that's also why you can't take too much consideration into the early season. You know, like their games are very important and you're trying to rack up wins. And if you put yourself in a situation like Melbourne right now, where you've got some cushion, it helps. But it really does all come down to, can you string wins together and can you find that form and win those close games, because so many of them are close games, and you'll find yourself in a playoff spot fighting in the end.
Yeah, for sure. It's a long season. Can't overreact too quickly. Adelaide Phoenix. Adelaide stole this one. I couldn't watch this in total, but I'm just gonna. Adelaide pretty much stole this one. I fully expected Phoenix to win, but they got the job done and by 3 points. What stood out to you in this one?
Well, firstly, it was awesome seeing Daniel Johnson have a little moment with Adelaide, a little return, and seeing him do his thing. And he played a great game, playing 9 minutes, but getting 6 points. So that's, Source, the combination. But that really was the story of two halves. I mean, Southeast dominating the first half. They're playing their style. Big Source, Alan Williams down there being a beast. Creaky doing his thing. All the guards being hard to guard, and then Dejan coming out. They got stops. Adelaide plays an interesting style of basketball where they kind of go under. They dare you to shoot early, and if you shoot those shots and you miss them, then Adelaide's running it down your face the other way, shooting those types of shots that they practice. And 29 points. That's a big game at home for Adelaide, and that sets them up nicely heading into the FIBA break.
For sure. Do you like how I quietly like to sprinkle NBL content through this? I always tell people to go listen to podcasts. We actually got DJ Vasiljevic on the Huddle, our NBL podcast, like the day after he was in Melbourne. We got an in-person one, which is lovely to do. So go check that one out as well. I think we're releasing it Wednesday, but I find it funny how I always relate back to just go watch that. I'm gonna do my job at the end of the day.
I like that. I just need you to start doing that when you're on the NBL stuff.
Yeah, true. I should just jump. Yeah, actually, we were filming something yesterday. I should have just jumped in front of the camera and just start plugging us. Plugging shooters.
100%. Well, it's funny because that became the joke after the game on the weekend, because I'm working on a shooting program, like an 8-week shooting program, and that I'm going to be selling and stuff. And so it's like, the next time I hit a big shot, I'll get interviewed. I'm like, if you want to make big shots, if you want to hit game winners, check out my website, buy my shooting program. So I'm about to be a menace. The NBL is going to hate me. I'm going to be promoting my own brand, my own shooting programs. They're not going to want me on anything.
Damn, that would have been perfect in the post-game interview or press conference with the game winner. If you want to shoot like that, funny you should ask that. That would have been perfect. But anyway, still do that. Sprinkle it in. It'll be fun.
I will be, for sure. That's the plan. Once that program gets out there, I'm going to be marketing it everywhere.
It'd be rude not to. Tassie Cairns, we touched on that. Some dude won the game for them. Perth, Brisbane. I didn't catch a lot of this, but I liked you talking up Doolittle in the game before, and he had 21 points in this one. Perth just got the win. It was one of those back and forth games where I kind of expected Brisbane to again, but I feel like they just did this, unless I'm just remembering this game as well. But they kind of have a habit of staying up there until the end and then just caving basically.
100%. It's one of those things with a new program. It takes time to learn how to win together. New coach, new system, and then when you're versing closers like Brass Cotton, who teams look at. And we've talked about this a little bit. When that huddle happens on the court, everyone looks at one guy, and when that guy is constantly poised, confident, head held high, doing his thing, such as Brass Cotton, when they look at him like that, it creates a sense of confidence throughout the team. I try and do that similar on my team by making 4-4-4 jokes, about the Angels numbers. But some dudes like Brass Cotton just do it because he's going to make big shots. And so Brisbane's is finding that. They're a new team, and right now they're competitive in every game. and you're gaining experience. And I have no doubt at the end of this year, Brisbane's going to be sitting in a good spot.
I think so. Can I ask one last question on that 4-4-4? Did Scott Roth hear that comment? I can't imagine him reacting.
I don't think so. I think he'll still like, how the coaches do their cute little meeting and kind of like huddle. Like, what are we talking about in this huddle? What do we need to work on? This is what I think. Yeah. Oh, I was in there. 4-4-4 boys. We're going to be doing great. So that's kind of.
I just imagine the intense environment and Scotty's just like about to say something like harsh or just motivating, and then you're like, guys, check out that scoreboard up there. But anyway, we move on. Justin Tatum, undefeated as a coach. How good? No, good to see them. I feel for the guys that you just want them to get a win. They go on, monkey off their backs going into the break. It's a good thing for the Illawarra Hawks.
I agree. I didn't get to watch this game, but a low-scoring game of 69-65, that's got to be the lowest scoring game of this NBL season.
That's a great point. It is very low, but Illawarra don't care, do they? They're like they got the higher end of it, so it's fine.
100%. And one tough part about losing is sometimes players don't get recognition, which is fair enough because you got to win the games. But Sam Froling is just continuing to do Sam Froling things. 16-12. He's a workhorse. He plays the right way. We all know how bright his future is, but it's good to see him go out there, get a Foot Locker player of the game, and get their team a win.
For sure. And something weird I've noticed in sport, especially AFL, is whenever a team fires a coach or a coach leaves for whatever reason, it's happened here in the NBL right now. But the first game that team plays, they always seem to win. I don't know what it is. I think North Melbourne last year in the AFL. Like, they were terrible. I think they got a new coach midway through. I could just be making it up, but they definitely got a coach. Someone definitely got a new coach midway through and straight away came out and got one of their first wins of the year. So there's something weird about a new coach comes in, the guys are motivated, and they get that first win. But it's just something I've noticed that is a bit of a trend.
Yeah, you're 100% on the money. I mean, it seems to happen in all different types of sports, different types of situations, but it must just be that kind of like fresh perspective gives guys a little extra motivation, a little extra sense of we've got nothing to lose, and they go out there and do their thing.
It's good to see. Melbourne, Sydney, this is the last game of the round. I was there with my brother again. People cop some stares. It's fine. You can stare all you want. We are identical twins. But no, always good to be there with him. But that was a weird game. I don't know if you got to watch that, but I thought, well, the summary was pretty much Sydney came in and punched them in the face in the first half, and Melbourne came and punched them back in the second half and got the win. But it was pretty crazy in there. Like, I didn't expect Melbourne to come all the way back, and suddenly I look up at the scoreboard. They're up by 8. CJ has another 35, and I'm just like, okay, well played, United. Well played.
100%. I mean, Chris Goulding right now, they were talking about the MVP a couple weeks ago, and I kind of shook my head and was like, oh, that's weird. That's weird. And then, a few thing changes here or there. And when you're the best team in the league, you have every right for people to be calling a player on their MVP. They've had injuries. They've had guys missing, guys in, and they continue to find a way with Chris Goulding being their best player. And so for me, that's a great argument for MVP. 35 points, 6,000 NBL points, tips that over. So that's an incredible achievement. And right now, they're the best team in the league, and they're continuing to prove it day in, day out. Against the second top team, they get the dub, and they're the team to beat right now.
Yeah, they really are. And I love, just quietly, last one is Luke Travers. I love his game. I didn't actually realize how, he did keep popping up every time I looked up, and he kept doing this thing. But he had 18 points, 12 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks. So people always love how much he does on the court. And that's just another example of it. You love walking away with a win and those points and statistical whatever to your name as you left the building. I worded that really well, didn't I?
That's all right. It happens. It happens to the best of us. But your point is on the money. And that is the round wrapped up right there. We're sitting with the ladder looking close. Top 4, I'm enjoying it right now. We got Melbourne, Sydney, Jack Jumpers, Perth. That is very, very close to prediction to what you had at the very start in the preseason.
Wow.
So maybe you were onto something there. But with an upcoming week and break, there's a FIBA window, so there's no games this weekend. We're hoping to get a little interview on, and we're excited. But what do you want to hype up?
Hype someone up. I just want to hype someone up. Go on a bit of a rant. Anyone that's caught our attention, just give them some love. I don't know if we've ever done this before. It's a Shooters Pod first, but I'm stealing a hype up off someone else. a loyal listener, Roger Radford, he jumped into our DMs and he's like, "Hey guys, can you hype up so and so on next week's episode?" So I'm stealing that one and I'm hyping up Liam, who's like a photographer. Apparently, he got his first NBL gig. I went onto his page. I think he's photographed a fair few of your games. I think it was Tassie, New Zealand, that I saw on his latest post. But I'm hyping him up because he got his first game down there. On the sideline, doing his thing. His Instagram is Liam Boric Media. That is Liam Boric Media. So go give him a follow. Always cool. And I assume he's a young fella. Didn't even look how old he is or anything. But yeah, good on him. It's a fun gig to do.
No, that's an awesome hype up. He's a great kid too. I was talking to him before the New Zealand Jack Jumpers game. He'd just done 2 exams in high school, so he's working hard in between exams. He's driving up to Launceston, getting the photos done, and he's doing a little bit with the business side, the sports side, and building his brand from a young age. And that's what you love to see. You love to see people that know what they want to do. They're passionate, they're hardworking, they're learning, and they're going out and chasing. And that's an incredible hype up right there.
I stole it. But hey, I'm glad you kind of knew who he was as well. And I've already made a connection there. So there you go.
Well, my hype up this week, it's to no surprise, but he deserves it. It's basketball. It's Will Magnay. I mean, he deserves some hype up. Coming back, it's always tough. Injuries are hard, especially ones with your feet, because you can't put in basketball reps. So when you hurt a shoulder or something else, or wrist and arm or something like that, you're still moving your feet, you're moving your body a lot. But with the foot, you're stationary, not getting a lot of reps. And he came out and he was a beast, and he helps us. Plus 20 in the win against Cairns, was obviously a beast against New Zealand. And he's a leader for this team. His voice is loud. He brings that little bit of aggression that I think the Jack Jumpers lack this year at times. And I'm just hyping him up for being an awesome teammate, an awesome dude, and an awesome basketball player.
Shout out Will. That's a good one. We love that. It was good to see him do exactly what he's known for, what he's been known for over the years. I didn't realize he had 20 points to his name. He just kind of popped up with that as well. So that's always nice.
Wow, this is a negative space. I'm just going to start chucking up random things I'm grateful for. This is incredible. This is the best grateful for I've ever heard.
And it's funny because we are always on a similar page when it comes to these hype ups, these grateful fors. And so my grateful for this week was photographers / videographers. Okay. And the reason I say that is because the amount of angles they got from the game winner, or seeing the photos after a game when they capture a cool moment and let you create a memory and all that good stuff. One of my favorite parts of playing is checking out the photos and the videos of the team and the guys uploading some cool stuff and a great action shot. And so I'm just shouting out everyone that's in there trying to capture these beautiful sporting moments that are so hard to catch because you never know when they're going to happen. The game's moving at such a quick pace, and they're an integral part of not just growing a brand, but part of the sport, part of showing the beauty of what makes basketball and other sports, but I think basketball in particular because it's so fast paced. The action's so close. It's always, there's 24 seconds in the shot clock, and if you fall asleep for a second, you might miss that moment. And so I'm grateful for the videographers and photographers out there that are working in the sport genre.
Love it. That's the beauty of it. You can kind of capture that moment, and it's especially cool when the athlete themselves see those photos or see that video because, like you said, in those moments, it's so... I'm sure you go home at night after a game and it's kind of just like all a blur. You're kind of just like, I can think back to these moments and sort of piece them together. But if you have a photo or something that sparks that memory, it kind of like lets you relive it in a way. So I mean, that's even the beauty from my perspective as well, like being able to capture those moments and being like, yep, I got that one, I did it. So that's a good grateful for right there. I enjoyed that one. So my one, I was so randomly scrolling my own Instagram this morning for some other purpose. I wasn't just hyping myself up and being like, what have I been up to over the years, even though that's quite interesting. But I'm grateful for our time in Germany. I sent you that post this morning, and it's quite cool looking back on because I think in the moment, even that's fast paced. Like even even it felt like there's a lot going on in that moment. But I looked at like the little gallery that I posted and things like that jazz band that we watched, and you were loving that, watching that jazz band live, and I was just sitting there in the corner like, this is different, but I'm enjoying it. Moments like that, moments walking into the game together and like kind of being on the other end of the photographers with the in-game arrival pictures. It was just cool. It's just cool reflecting on that. So yeah, that was a cool time.
Yeah, that was an awesome time. That's like one of those like random memories that you're like, was that real? How did that happen? What happened there? We were just hanging out in Germany for a week together.
It was very cool. It's almost like one of those you know how Facebook sends you like 2 years ago to this date you did that, and half the time it's just like, what is this? But some of the times you actually click into it, and you're like, oh, that was actually really cool. Thanks, Facebook. I appreciate that.
That's for sure. Well, now, whenever you're ready, you know, the next Europe trip is whenever, you know, I'm going to be making these yearly basketball Euro trips. And so whenever you're ready in the next, you know, you got the next 10 years to say, hey, I'm coming over for another one.
You just have to tell me the next destination, then I'll decide, and tell me if there's room for me, of course. But no, it was cool. It was cool. Some fan questions. I enjoyed this one because I don't know what your answer is going to be, but they wanted to know what music do you listen to pregame, if any?
So right now I listen to one song, and this is when I have a cold shower when I wake up from my nap, and it's Blood, Sweat, Tears by Future. And then post that, no music for me. I'm big on just trying to chill and just have a laugh, and I'm taking the pregame as little amount of seriousness as I can. And so there's absolutely no music for me. I'll be dancing a little bit to whatever's playing kind of out in the thing. We have no music in the locker room. So if guys want headphones on or whatever they want to play, they can do that. But we're a no music team, and I'm a no music individual.
There you go. Wait, so how long have you listened to the same song for before the game? Surely you get sick of it.
4 or 5 years.
Wow. Okay. I did not realize that. That's quite fascinating.
Yeah. And so I don't do it every time. So sometimes I just forget or whatever. It's not like a ritual, like I have to do it, but I just use it to time my cold shower. So I'll chuck on this song, I'll enjoy it, and then it's like 4 minutes, and then I just get in a little 4-minute cold shower.
It's not like one of those things where you have to do it and then you're like, shit, I have to drive back home and have a cold shower and put the music on and drive back to the game. That would be a bit awkward, but I'm glad.
Yeah, no, that's the exact reason I would say I'm ritualistic in making it not ritualistic.
There you go.
In case it doesn't happen. So every now and then I'll chuck it on and enjoy it in a cold shower.
Make sense. Next one. What are your thoughts on expanding the NBL, and where would you put a team?
Well, it's a good question. I would like to get your idea first, though.
Well, I think the latest buzz has always been Darwin and Canberra. That was the last two names I heard. But I was thinking Canberra would, for some reason, I don't know why. Nobody said anything like it would, but for some reason I thought that would be a pretty realistic one. But again, I'm not sure. I know the government plays a huge part in these things, and they have to 100% get back the team and, you know, all the resources and the stadium and the facilities and all that stuff. So I don't know what that looks like from that perspective. But in saying that, I don't really know where I'd want a team to be. Canberra was just one that I was like, oh yeah, I could see it.
Yeah, I feel you. I'm pretty similar. I'm not too passionate about where. I think if they can successfully expand the league, it's always a good thing. I mean, look at how awesome it is having the Jack Jumpers in the league and the addition that's been, and how awesome it is seeing Southeast Melbourne develop into a club, and, you know, it has its own culture, the Melbourne versus Melbourne game. And so the more teams you can add, the better. My one concern would be if there is enough Australian talent to play at the high level of the NBL. And I know that sounds weird, but when you compare, say, the NBL to the NBA, we actually currently have more teams than the NBA in ratio of population. And so when you're looking at how many players we have in the league, we do have a good amount of jobs in comparison to the population. The other negative would be it's hard to get big men. Like, there's just not a lot of tall dudes that are at the level to compete at the NBL. And so sometimes that can be tough. But saying that, the Next Star has taken away a lot of minutes from Aussies. And so really teams are running in at 4 imports when you think about it. And so 1 or 2 extra teams I think would be awesome and would really set it away. Where I'm happy with it, Darwin, Canberra. I personally don't love the Gold Coast. Just from me growing up there, I just don't think that many people are into sport. It's more laid back, beach vibes, rugby league dominates the area. And then I do hope no international. I don't want a Singapore team or something like that.
Yeah, that would be next level. That would be a different thing. But I'm not just saying this because you're on the pod, but I do think Tassie are sort of like the benchmark of like the perfect ideal way a new team could be born kind of thing. Like from the moment you guys, I don't know, developed your brand, developed your like fan base, developed your culture, like all that stuff seems pretty damn ideal if you were to put on a piece of paper what a new team would look like. I feel like it would look something like Tassie, like not to say the culture has to be exactly like you guys or anything like that, but in terms of just like how you've grown from like an idea on a piece of paper to where you are now to how like well you've competed through the seasons, it's a pretty damn good beginning for any franchise in a basketball league, I reckon.
I 100% agree with you. I think that's, yeah, you can't do it much better with that fairy tale run to start the season. Tasmania embracing the Jack Jumpers. It's been pretty awesome. And if we can get another team like that in Darwin or Canberra where it's embraced by the community and they do a lot of community work, then it will only make the league better.
I reckon there's actually, like, next team that does come in, I reckon there's a bit of pressure because of how well you guys have done things, seemingly. I reckon they'd be like, okay, if it doesn't go sort of what the Jack Jumpers have been like, it's not a failure, but it would be tough. But there's going to be pressure to follow you guys up.
There is going to be pressure. But I tell you what, there's no pressure this weekend because there's no games.
True.
So, Darren, what have you got coming up this week? Have you got any plans this weekend before we wrap this episode up?
Time to put my feet up, I reckon. Take a break. Nah, I don't know. The content keeps on rolling. We've got some cool stuff to fill the gaps in NBL world. But nah, hopefully we get hopefully Ty Webster's listening to this and we can secure him. But no, we want to eventually bring more and more guests just to come in, break it up with these episodes. But I don't really have anything on with the break. I'll head to the WNBL tomorrow. It's always nice when they're in town because they play like 10 minutes down the road from me sometimes, which is super handy. But that's about it from my end.
That's nice. That sounds like a good weekend. Can you give us some little quick like insight into what the exciting NBL content is going to be?
Well, we just filmed like so NBL Now is like our podcast that we do pretty much daily, but we filmed like an in-studio version yesterday and covered all 10 teams, all 10 minutes for each team. Gonna release them. We released the Perth one today, kind of just like a round table of Derek Rucker, Damon Lowry, and Jack Hebron, just sort of chopping it up about where every team is at. We've tried to keep it a bit more lighter and a bit more fun. The guys just kind of going back and forth with their views and opinions and stuff. So the aim is to basically just release one per day as we go. But they're fun. I was kind of behind the scenes doing a bit of, it's almost like live editing. You basically, first time doing this, I'm just going to segue into this because it was a fun experience, but they call it the switchboard. So it's basically like if you have like 4 camera setups, once we're actually recording live, you're essentially directing the show. So you can like choose which camera angles to go live. So that was a cool experience. Just like, yeah, basically trying to read the room, trying to read where the guys are looking with their eyesight and stuff. But it was a fun experience.
That is cool. Look at you learning skills. You're in the front of the camera, you're behind the camera, and now you're directing the cameras. There you go.
Try to do a bit of everything. Got to keep it interesting.
That's good. Well, all I've got coming up this week is I'm flying back to Adelaide to spend the weekend with Beth, which will be nice. And then we've got 3 days of intense training, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So an exciting week. I'll be getting lots of shots up, getting some lifts in, and then spending a nice weekend with some downtime with Beth. So I'm looking forward to it.
Love it. Well, soak up the game winner. You've still got a week of action to do so. Thanks, Roger, for the hype up. Great. I'm grateful for that.
I like that. Well, everyone, thank you for listening like always. Have a great week, and hopefully we'll see you next week with Ty Webster talking some game.